Hey there, this is Jamie Russo. I am the host of the Everything Coworking podcast, and I help operators and community managers create and run co-working spaces that attract and retain their best members. So I am here live today to talk about, well, not live if you're watching the recording, to talk about allowing members, including virtual office members, to use your address for their own Google My Business listing. So we talked about how important the Google My Business listing is on my last live, which was 2 weeks ago. And this time we are going a little bit deeper on what do you do if you have a member that wants to use your address. So we're going to talk about just a quick reminder of what your Google My Business listing is. Should you let members use it? And if you do, how should you let them use it? So we're going to dive in. Quick reminder about the Google My Business listing. This is a listing that comes up when you search for a local business. Only local businesses. Hey, Mark. Oh, good. If you have some questions, let me know. Mark says, great and lively, timely topic. Sorry. And so Google My Business listing is you're on your mobile device and you're in Google Maps or you're on your laptop and you search for, co-working near me. The Google My Business search results are the local search results that come up. So only local businesses need these results. And that's an important component of, do I let my members use my address? So I cannot reiterate enough how valuable this listing is for your business. So I hear this across the board. In my business, in my co-working space, we had 20 times the traffic to our Google My Business listing than to our website. So when you think about the co-working sales funnel, I'll do the, funnel hand image. Lots and lots of leads going in the top of that funnel were coming from our Google My Business listing, not our website. And maybe they went to our website, or maybe they called us and scheduled a tour. Now you can schedule a tour directly from your Google My Business listing. But your Google My Business listing may arguably be more important than your website. It is free, and you just need to keep it updated and make sure you're getting ongoing reviews, posting offers, and updating photos. Google likes dynamic content, so it's super important. And it's critical to your sales funnel. So it's also very important that you don't lose control over it. And I have historically been very, very conservative about allowing others to use this address because I know operators who have had their Google My Business listing taken down because Google did not like the fact that there were duplicate businesses listed under the same address. So Google is about the end user, right? So Google's algorithm is all about getting the right results into the hands of the people who want them. And so if someone's doing a search, they want it to be super clear who's at that location, and they want that business to actually exist at that location. So Google does not like the idea that someone in New York might buy an address in San Francisco, call it a local business, and that a consumer might Google for that, find that business in their search results, show up to the space, and have the owner say, I don't even know who that person is. I've never seen them. They just have a virtual address with us. Google doesn't really want that to happen. Now, so I know operators whose listings have been taken down because people within the space have used the same exact address. So if your address is 2225 East Bayshore Road, Suite 100, and you let all of your members use that same exact address, Google is confused, and it's confusing for the end user. So Google doesn't like it and may not give you notice and may pull your listing down, and then you are in trouble because you've lost a major lead source. So we need to protect our listing by not letting others use the same exact address. You are welcome to experiment with this and do it at your own risk. I would never do that. So, do we let members use our Google My Business listing? The first thing to consider is, it's really, really valuable, right? So we know that for us, we had 20 times the traffic go to our Google My Business listing as our website. It is a hugely valuable marketing asset that you can only get if you are paying commercial rent and have signed a lease, right? So you've paid to get access to this listing. You own it. It's yours. Do you want to share it? So it can be, if you do, recognized the value that comes with that. And if someone really needs that listing, they should recognize and be willing to pay for the value also. So I would be very careful about who you let use the listing. So the first question to ask is, does someone actually need a Google My Business listing? Really only if they're a local business, right? There are search experts out there who might just give you a checklist and say, put yourself on a Google My Business listing. What? I'm not a local business, but people who don't realize what it is will say, okay, I'll go figure out how to do that. And they might ask to use yours when they're not a local business. So examples of people who can really benefit from this would be local people who don't have offices of their own and are out and about all the time. So painters, plumbers, people who need Yelp reviews and don't want to put their home address on their Yelp listing. They're great candidates for Google My Business listing. Or people that work in your space that have clients and also need Yelp reviews that are sort of a local business, like an attorney, an accountant, maybe a marketing service, a bookkeeper, who works locally. Now, if you're an online bookkeeping platform like, I'm trying to think. Okay, I can't think of one. But if you're an online platform and you're not really local, then you don't need a Google My Business listing. So beware of people who are looking to act as if they're local when they're really not. There are lots of local businesses who actually need that. Other people who need local addresses may not actually need a Google My Business listing. So also be careful about that. So if someone wants to do business in a state that they don't actually live in, they may pay you to use your address. But that they're not a local business and they may not need to be a local business. They just need to use your address on legal documents, and that's fine. So that's an issue with the post office, right? The post office doesn't care. The post office will not penalize you for having 100 people in your space. I mean, it might be irritating to them, but there is no, the post office is not going to do anything about it. So that's important to separate the post office and Google. So if somebody's using your address on a legal document, totally fine. If someone, though, is going to use your business, like I Google your address and somebody else comes up besides you, that's a big deal, and they need to be local, or they need to have a reason to have a Google My Business listing, and you want to charge them for it, and you need to make sure that it's unique. So if you own the building, you could do suite numbers. So you could do 130 West Main Street, Suite 100, Suite 200, Suite 300. If you don't own the building, you probably cannot make up suite numbers. So we would do personal mailbox numbers, which is kind of the standard term that the digital mail folks will use, the mail aspect of a virtual office. So you just assign a number to each member. So you would be Suite 100-101, Suite 100-102. It's not quite as sexy looking, but it works and it's unique, which is what's really important. So if you agree to let a member use your listing, I would make sure that you are exchanging value for that. And I'm going to give credit to some of my co-working startup school and flight group students for putting this into practice. So many of them, I have one student who has an address on Wilshire Boulevard in LA, which is a very attractive address. So when she opened, put her space on the lead gen site. So she was using, say, Anytime Mailbox and DaVinci. And she was getting folks buying a virtual mail package and then sending the Google My Business verification code. So she could tell, so if somebody uses your address, Google will send a verification code to the address to make sure that it's real. And that will come to you or your community manager, and you must make sure you intercept those every single time. Do not give them directly to the member until you have confirmed that the member should be using your address, that it's unique, and that they're paying for it. So what my students are doing is intercepting these when people send them, calling the people and saying, hey, I see you need a Google My Business listing. What do you need it for? And if it's a legitimate reason and they want to support it, then they say, okay, well, we require that you have a hot desk with us in order to use this, because we need you to be a legitimate member of the community. You cannot just have a $14.99 or even a $40 mailing address with us to get this very valuable asset that I can only get by buying a building or signing a commercial lease. So they cannot get this without you. And if they really need it and they understand the value, if it is a big funnel driver for them, they'll pay for it. So I have folks who are requiring a full hot desk membership in order to use that Google My Business address. So that may feel like an aggressive move, and you can start a little bit lower. But again, if people really need the listing and they understand the marketing value of it, then they should be willing to pay the amount of a hot desk in order to get access to that listing. At least make it a very premium add-on to your mail service. So if you get mail clients through one of the lead gen folks and they send that Google My Business verification card to you, you call them and you say, this is an incremental purchase for you. This is X in addition to just using our address. Just using your address is for the post office. That doesn't buy you access to the Google My Business listing. What else do I want to? So again, to me, it's all about managing the risk. So making sure you don't let every hot desk member use your address for a Google My Business listing. They probably don't need it. And then you've got lots of them. And the more you have, probably the more risky it is and the more likely it is for Google to do something about it. Does Google enforce this? Like I said, I know 2 operators that it's happened to. I know lots of operators it's never happened to. So it's not, you're managing risk and deciding if it's worth it. But this is why you should make sure there's a value exchange for it if you're going to take on that risk, and that people are paying an incremental fee to use the Google My Business listing in addition to just getting mail at your address. Okay, questions? Mark, anything I didn't cover? If you're still there, I saw a thumbs up. We have some more eyeballs. Any questions about this, guys? I get questions about this all the time. So I've been trying to kind of go through it and dive into the details. And I used to be super, super conservative about it and say, please don't let anybody use your address. But people do. And again, it's just about managing the risk and making sure there's a value exchange for it. Oh, it's National Dog Day. Hannah just sent me a picture of her. Hannah, who used to be Work Hub Tyler, just sent me a picture of her golden doodle. Off topic. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap. If you have any questions, let me know. I am going to put a link to a guide under the video, Google My Business listing guide for co-working space owners with some of these details, so you can grab that. Thanks for joining me. And if you want to put a reminder in your calendar, I'm trying to do these lives every Wednesday at roughly 11:30 Pacific time. So good to see you. And, working on the best combination. Mark. Yes. You know, Mark, who has a great, there's some good online kind of matrices of offerings. Pacific Workplaces has a good one on their website. If you go to their website and hit the virtual button, you can see everything they offer, the pricing, hit the buy now, all that good stuff right online. So they're a good one to check out if you're looking to see what others are offering. But definitely make sure you do the upcharge for the Google My Business listing. Awesome. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next Wednesday.